they're telling us a big lie, because there is no such thing as global warming, and they're saying it's because of global warming. And in the meantime, what they are using, because they could have found ways of doing this without using such toxic substances, but they've only found toxic substances in order to do this because they also want to decrease the Earth's population. And this is why they're not telling us the truth. They want most of the world's population to die.
Yeah, that's why the big gun grab. They don't want people to have the ability to defend themselves. Well, that's just not going to work. And, you know, I don't even want to get into that subject because I get pretty heated about that. But listen, folks, you know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, we've proven to everyone that these objects do exist. I have captured them continuously over the past, well, over 2 years now. And, you know, this is just some of the recent captures going back into November and December. Not sure if a lot of you saw them. I don't know what YouTube allows you to see. You know, it's just ridiculous. But, I mean, for God's sakes, this was captured in the Cactus coronagraph at the tail end of a coronal mass ejection. You can see the large sphere here. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see multiple spheres in this photograph, and I converted it over to 4K to bring the definition out. I didn't change the color. I just made it a higher resolution. So, what do you think that is? Do you think that just popped up in a picture? Do you think it's just some type of camera anomaly? Hell no. And these were just the beginning phases of what was happening during that coronal mass ejection. And then, bingo. So,
and they actually provoke the coronal mass ejections as they pull matter from the sun. Eventually, you get an explosion. And then the stellar core is ejected, and so is a lot of the material that it was pulling from the lower regions of the sun, the lower layers, like the chromosphere, the lower chromosphere. They're actually pulling matter from there. And then eventually there's a reaction, and they are ejected. But it's the same way that the sun produces a solar wind, and it's because positive ions are repelled by the sun's outer negative layer, which is very rich in electrons, mainly electrons. And that's all due to the gravitational interaction. That's one of the things I discovered that's how gravity actually works. There's a part in it that causes particles, negative and positively charged particles, to repel.
Now, this is one of the photographs that I captured. This is back on March 28th of this year. And this is pretty incredible photograph because, I mean, you can see the object perfectly round.
Yes.
It's a little bit striped. It might be some of the photograph. I converted these over to a much higher definition so we can see it. You will have some ignorant people that will try to say that is a coronal prominence. Coronal prominences are not completely spherical. Okay, they have a little bit of a deformed shape. They come in different styles, different shapes. A lot of them are kind of a teardrop shape or the shape of an eye. You know, they're not completely perfectly circular like what we're seeing here. Again.
Yeah, you know, Scott, these objects have been in the sun's corona for, I think, at least 100 years. And they've come up with all kinds of terms, like they do with the clouds on Earth. They just come up with a new term, hoping that just giving you the term will stop you from asking any more questions.
Yeah, they're insulting your intelligence is what they're doing.
Because a term does not explain what's actually happening. Why is there a hole in the corona? Because there's an object there. It's logical. Because the sun's corona has to go around an object. It's the same thing if you have a rock in a river. The river has to go around the rock.
Or over it.
Or over it.
You know, this was another incredible photograph also, folks. You know, if you just tune your eye in on this, you can see this is just the original color. You can see this massive object. It was actually closer to the camera that is coming from, I think, the Core 2 stereo. You can see the gases, which are in white, spewing off of this this object. That's how close it is to the sun. You can see it.
Yes.
Different views in different contrasts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And again, folks, I mean, I don't know about you, but you know, I call that undisputable evidence right there.
We definitely have it, Scott. We have so many images. You've caught these objects so many times. It's undisputable, especially that one. Remember that one with the stripes? That was undisputable stripes on it, and the stripes were curved. And that you caught that one as well. I love using that one because no one can tell me that this is not a solid object in the sun's corona when the stripes actually curve. So they conform to the spherical shape of the object. And the object looks like Jupiter because you can clearly see the stripes. They're so well defined in that image. And then there's the blue stellar core, and then there's the 2007 stellar core. Undeniable that it is in the sun's corona. It moves slowly across the sun. And of course, they wanted us to think it was the moon, but it cannot be the moon because you can see corona on the back of it. But it was obviously, we have amazing evidence that these objects are there. We can see them making their plasma connections with the sun. It's just unbelievable evidence that we have. And this is what they allow us to see.
Exactly. And, you know, I mean, I try to stay on top of the whole entire situation. I spend a tremendous amount of time investigating and researching this. And some people say that, oh, you're not doing legitimate research. Well, listen, you're not with me 24 hours a day. You don't see what I do. You don't see the time and the effort that I put in and that Dr. Albers puts in. We have put our normal lives on hold, well, probably forever from this point on. We don't have normal lives anymore. We don't just dilly-dally around. We do as much legitimate research as we possibly can with what we are given and what we find. And the photograph that you're looking at now that came from Cactus, and, you know, this was just back in March of this year. Again, folks, I mean, this is undeniable. I mean, we may possibly be looking at one of the complete systems that is orbiting our sun, a mini solar system within our solar system. Now, astrophysicists, other scientists, and astronomers will say that's impossible. But here's the thing, folks. How do they know that is impossible? Okay, you could even be a genius and put the mathematical equation up on a chalkboard 10 miles long. My point is, we've never seen this before. Human beings, scientists, have never examined this before. So how can you fucking say it is impossible? Excuse my French, but when I start talking about this, I get passionate and I get upset because these know-it-all scientists that want to keep their damn funding will say whatever it takes to keep the funding.
Yeah, because you see, they're extremely arrogant. They think that we've discovered everything there is to know about the universe. I remember Carl Sagan saying that we are like at the edge of an ocean. We're just wetting our feet. We know nothing about this universe, basically. But these scientists believe we know everything. How can we know everything when we can only basically see what happens in our solar system? And they don't want us to even look at what's happening with the sun. They want us to look out there. But there are 100 billion galaxies, and we just see basically what's inside our solar system. Okay, we have telescopes, but our telescopes look out into the past. They see things from a huge distance. There's no way we can even know what's below the surface in the sun. We only know what's on the surface of stars. We hardly know what's inside our own planet.
Yeah, we don't even know what's in all of our oceans, for God's sake.
Exactly. So how can we say we know everything about the universe and our theory tells us exactly how it works? No, that is pure arrogance. What we should be doing is using our powers of observation to really see how things work and not rely on the theories. The theories are obviously wrong because what we observe or what's happening with the sun and in our solar system contradicts just about everything that our theory tells us. So what has to happen is that we use our observation, we see what's happening. What's happening is we have objects, dead stars, in the solar system, and then we have to rework our theory. This is what I have had to do as best as I can with whatever I can observe of these objects, because as we know, they are trying to stop us from seeing what's really going on. But
True.
What needs to be reworked is the theory. And these physicists, basically, they made themselves blind because all they see is theory, which is obviously wrong. The observations tell you it's wrong.
Here's another photograph I want to share with you guys. This was, a couple of months ago. And again, same thing. If a lot of you are new, we have a lot of new subscribers coming on to Planet X News. We want them to see the captures and the observations that we've made. This was part of another coronal mass ejection coming from the sun. And once again, folks, I mean, it's plain as day. Right where my cursor is, I really shouldn't even have to point that one out to you.
That's amazing. Look at that.
I mean, it's right there in front of your eyes.
Yeah, we can see the dark line, almost like a stripe there at the bottom part. And we always see the little flecks of matter that comes off the sun whenever there is a CME, because these objects are shedding these. They probably look like rocks. They're all over the solar system now, these little flecks of matter, but they don't obey what we think is the gravitational interaction, because if they obeyed it, they wouldn't be floating around the sun all the time. We wouldn't get clouds of ionized gas between these objects and the detectors. And we are definitely seeing that in the HI images.
No doubt. This was back in February of 2018. This is just a contrast change.
Mm-hmm.
I'll zoom in for you.
Yeah, look at that. It's undeniable. There's a huge object there. It's huge.
Folks, whenever you watch my videos or you take part in one of our live streams, okay, I don't try to deceive you in any way. I'm showing you the information that I've observed. And, unlike some other channels, they'll just flash by a picture, they'll show it to you, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, I convert the pictures into a higher definition so we can clearly see what we're looking at. And I zoom in. I zoom in all the way, and I put it on your screen so you can see it, and you can see it clearly. I'm not trying to show you some little pinpoint dot on your screen. I'm bringing it right into your living room. No other channel investigating Planet X, Nibiru, whatever you want to call it. Nobody brings it to you like we do. I just had to throw that out there.
Yeah, I think you do a great job, Scott, with these images. Really, it's amazing. Because they don't want us to see. They on purpose blur these images so we don't see what's there. And they want us to believe it's all part of the CME, but it's obvious. We have a circular object that remains circular as it moves away from the sun. It's obviously a spherical object there. It cannot be anything else.
Yeah, what the hell else would it be? I mean,
exactly.
Let's be realistic here, folks. You know, let's not sugarcoat shit and call it candy, okay? It's there. It's affecting the sun, and there is nothing that we can do about it. I'm going to jump out of here real quick. Oh, I got so many screens opened up.
Yeah, so they are there, Scott. We've been showing this over and over again, but of course there are always new people that, you know, have not heard. So we need to keep telling it to the world.
Well, there's no doubt about that. We have to be vocal about it. I mean, folks, that's why we're doing the things that we're doing. You know, that's why we're showing the information, we're documenting it. We're putting it in writing so you guys can see it, so the world can see it.
Yeah, the fact that they have a sun simulator is further evidence that there's something going on. Because if the sun was working properly, they wouldn't need a sun simulator.
True.
And if there were no objects in the solar system, there would be nothing to hide. They're obviously hiding something. So
yeah,
they're actually giving us more evidence of their lying tactics, their deception.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Just watch the news and just watch the politics and the violence. It's outbreaking in, all of the European countries. Just absolutely horrible things happening. I watch it every day, and it literally gives me, the chills to see the violence. It's now occurring in Puerto Rico. There's upheaval in Puerto Rico, in Venezuela, all through Europe. Here in the United States, it's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very sad. Very sad. And I don't think we're going to have an end to it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be quite frank with you. There will be no end to all of this. It will continue. It will get worse as time goes on. I don't know how much time we have left in this whole endeavor. I really don't. There is no timeline. I think maybe only God would really know that. So when people put dates on their videos and their articles and they say this is going to happen and that's going to happen, just throw it in the trash. Don't even share it. Don't even read it. Don't even pay attention to it. Live your life. Live every minute of your life like it's your last day. I mean, honestly, I wish I can do that myself right now. But Dr. Albers and I are on a journey, and that journey is to continue to inform each and every one of you about what is happening. We do the best that we can each and every day. Dr. Albers puts out her articles and her videos, and she does her research on it. There are many people out there that may disagree with her. That's fine. Do that. But don't stalk her. Don't threaten her. You can threaten me. You can stalk me. You can make all the videos that you want about me. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I don't force anybody to listen to my videos or read my articles or my books. They can choose not to read it or not to listen to my videos. Anybody can choose that.
And another word of advice, folks, you know, if you don't have any way of protecting yourself, you know, maybe you're not a gun owner, maybe you have no experience with firearms, maybe it's time that you purchase some form of protection for you and your family. Maybe it's time that you go out there and maybe take a firearms class, take a tactical shooting class. Maybe it's time for you to start learning a little bit more about the outdoors. Maybe it is time for you to start, as they say, you know, prepping. Maybe it is time for you to get a water filtration system. Maybe it is time for you to get your bug out bins or your bug out bags prepared, at least. It's better to be safe than sorry. What do you think, Dr. Albers? Better to be safe than sorry?
I think so. I think that you should exercise your rights, and you have the right to own a way of defending yourself. You should exercise that right. And obviously, the puppet masters don't want you to exercise that right, so you should do so even more. Because you should disobey, in other words, do what they don't want you to do.
I agree. Well, listen, folks, that's all that we have for you right now. There's a lot of things happening in the world, minute by minute. We see it, we hear about it, and we need to continue to share that information. We need to use the social medias the best that we can before they take it away. That's the best advice I could give all of you. I wish we had better things to talk about.
Yeah, at least we have the books. They can take away the electronic media, but not the books.
Yeah. Sad state of affairs our world is in. Pretty sad.
Yeah.
And it's also very sad for all of the younger people growing up, children that are just being born into this world. Man, they have no idea what the world will look like whenever they have the opportunity to have children and create a family. That's the sad part. Live your life. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. Be prepared. Best advice I can give you.